Well, Mike had a dream of being out in the wilderness and growing things and having animals, and then I had it too. And then we met each other, and then we put our dreams together.
Oh, look at your bed.
Well, we put a bunch of garbage in that trash can, and we put some tin pans on top of it, and then we have that light on over there on the tree to shine on the trash can so you can see there at night. And then we slept in here, and so we figured, well, when the bear knocks the cans off there, we'll hear him, and then I'll just come out here and we'll send him on his way. No, he didn't come.
Oh, that bed is like really comfortable.
You let her do all the work?
Well, no, I already picked a bunch of stuff yesterday for Brett. I do other stuff. I plant all this, a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and weed.
And weed. And I pick.
Yeah, you do.
This is really funny. So we tied a string onto it, and we ran it across the driveway and ran it into the window in the TV room. Tana slept on the couch and tied the string to her hand. And then I slept in the other couch, and we were waiting for the bear to tip over the trash can, and then that would make her hand, pull on her hand. And then I'd get up and she'd say, "The bear's here." I'd get up and go out and dispatch him.
A long time ago when they had the Trinity Cafe in Mount Shasta, we had, so many vegetables. So we decided to stop by and see if he needed any vegetables. And he said, "Yes, I do." Is it time for the bread?
Do we actually have real sour cream in here?
Yes, there's some sour cream in there. We want that. And
We lived in LA for, 7 years?
no.
Yeah. I was at Disneyland for 7
Well, actually,
years.
you had, but I only lived
You
there
worked
for
on
like
It's a Small World after all,
3.
Really?
I love
So we were like,
I was thinking of me.
we
I was
were-
only there for 3.
we didn't like LA. We're not into big cities, but we hung out because I had a great job at Disneyland. They would tell us, "Well, we got a problem with this or that," so we go out at night, and then we'd tear the ride apart, and then we'd bring the parts into the machine shop, and we'd weld up things and machine them and make them, fix them,
Fabricate.
and then we'd take them back out and install them.
Blended together, these experiences make up the fascinating world called Disneyland. A world filled with excitement, imagination, and happiness where you can travel to the past, present, or future without ever leaving the park.
We actually built the Pirates of the Caribbean.
No way.
Well, and all the stuff in the submarine ride, all that stuff that moves underwater,
Really?
it's all operates with air.
Wow.
Yeah, we did all that stuff. We rehabbed the Small World. Actually, backstage to Disneyland, to the actual park, was probably 2 or 3 times bigger than the park itself.
You kidding me?
No.
That's what keeps it
Wow.
running,
They go in there at night, and you know how you go in there, it's like all the flowers
They're blooming.
are brand new.
Yeah.
They look like they're brand new.
Yeah.
Well, they go in there every night and plant flowers.
How's that? Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, somebody picked some carrots the other day and forgot them. I left them sitting out there in the sun. See how everything kind of looks like a jungle right now? When in the spring, the garden looks so tidy and it's all weeded and everything. And then as fall approaches, it's like, no time for, wow, look at the artwork on that. And the only way to really do it is with your fingers. And this is the arugula that God planted. We did not plant this. And they're so cute. You can really spice up a salad with arugula. It just tastes so good. Okay, down in. It's everywhere. See, these are big. That's arugula. 71, probably late 1971, and we met this couple, and they told us about this place in the Kalmiopsis wilderness of Oregon. It was 20 miles down a dirt road from Selma, and then a 6.5-mile hike. And the last mile was a switchback. And so we packed up all of our stuff and we decided to move. It was, it was the hippie era. We built a little A-frame cabin. We had a little garden, which we had to water by hand. They had to cut the logs with the misery whip. Our nephew spent the summer with us, and he helped with that. And then they did all the construction, and then I would caulk between all the logs with moss. And then my job was tamping the floor with I had a pretty good sized log with a flat bottom, and I would just tamp the floor, wet it down, and tamp it. And try to make it like cement,
We found an old dead.
It's the machetes over at right by the compost pile. We met people all the time. In those days, you would just meet other hippies, and these hippies lived on something called the Carrot Claim, and it was kind of like a commune. And they had this blackjack, this ass. It's a donkey, and so we borrowed it. And so he does all that part. He loads everything on blackjack, and we're hiking, and I think he was holding on to blackjack, and we got to this little bridge. And so he's been around horses and all that all his life, so he knew to blindfold blackjack, right? So he tied a shirt or something around blackjack, and blackjack, starts cruising across the bridge, and all of a sudden the blindfold falls off, and he just like, whoa, and he took off running, and all the equipment was flapping on. He was kicking, and that was funny.
It's that time of year for aphids.
We went there, and I guess we started in the spring. We stayed until fall. It was almost Thanksgiving, and we were going to stay the winter, and I was pregnant by then. And we decided to raft all of our supplies in on the Illinois River. We went into town and bought everything we needed. We had gunny sacks and black trash bags, and another gunny sack and black trash bags, and tied everything down to another raft behind us.
We had about 400 pounds of food on it.
And we
going
took
down
off.
the Illinois River.
And we took off, and then we got to the rapids, and we went down the rapids, and everything went floating off. And so we gathered it back up and spent the night on the river, and then we kept going, and then it was a lot longer in a raft than it was hiking. Anyway, and then it happened again, another set of rapids, and everything. Finally, we just went, oh boy, this isn't going to work out. So we were near this old trapper's cabin, and his name was Shorty, a little German guy, and he was about this tall. And so we took almost everything and gave it to Shorty. He thought it was Christmas. And then we just kept what we needed. We went to the cabin, and we regrouped and decided, I guess we're going back to civilization. And we did. And then from there, we moved to Canada.
I was finished with Disneyland. I was out of the Marine Corps Reserve, so I could leave. So we took off. We went down to Coronado, got the Jeep, loaded up the Jeep with everything we needed, generators, chainsaws, all the garbage. Moved up to Canada, Powell River in Canada. and the stuff we were going to take with us we had in the bush plane, and that thing was plugged. Moved up the marsh. There was 3 feet of snow on the ground. They landed. I mean, it was amazing. This guy lands
land
that
on the
thing
water,
in the
you
inlet
know.
with big waves, you know. So we got off the plane and hiked up the hill.
And I was 8 months pregnant, so.
What else do we need?
Look at my list.
Oh, green onion.
A big bunch. Of course, we didn't know. In those days, you didn't know whether you were going to have a girl or boy. It's not like today. There was a mattress, and it was made out of straw. There was a little bedroom in there, a little small room. There was one of those tables with the metal legs and the formica top, but it was very sturdy. So we set that straw mattress on top of that very sturdy table. Well, in those days, you didn't even have Ziploc bags. So we had plastic bags, and we ironed them shut. So we sterilized everything. We sterilized sheets and, everything that we'd need, and ironed them shut. Nice. Okay. Oh, I gotta put the bread in. It's just our bread. Coming! Oven gets heated up really hot.
Now you're cooking.
25 minutes. We have to take the lid off. But the morning that I woke up at about 6 a.m. with contractions, and I remember Mike said, go back to sleep. It's going to take a long time. Just go back to sleep. So I tried to go back to sleep, and I couldn't. So I trudged out to the creek with my buckets and filled them up with water, and I started back, and then I would have a contraction. So I would set the buckets down and, do my little breathing. And when the contraction was over, I'd pick up my buckets and, head back to the cabin. I probably stopped a couple times and came back and started doing the dishes. And I got about halfway through the dishes, and I said I had to lay down, I had to sit down. And then I realized, no, I need to lay down. And then I'm going, wake up, I'm gonna have this baby. So he quickly got the birth kit ready, ran in there and made up the bed and, got everything ready, and then just barely helped me into that little nice firm mattress in time. And then, she was born. Okay, and then there it is, all nice and dry. Okay, we got the carrots. I'll have to count them. Got the chard, the arugula, green onions. I need to go through the squash. And, I need to weigh the beans. Got the basil is in the car with the cherry tomatoes and the kale. Carrots?
Fresh hot bread out of the oven. Honey, come on.
Thank you. Yum, yum, yum.
All those dried tomatoes out there, we use that in the bread. We use it in a lot of stuff.
Okay, everything fits. Amazing. Okay, that's ready. So we've always loved to cook, and we've loved good food. So I think that our lives kind of revolve around that, because if you grow all these wonderful vegetables and you don't use them, then what sense is that? You just sell them and you eat McDonald's. There's no sense in that. We were the only ones, I think, in the Illinois Valley, in the Kalmiopsis wilderness, that cooked, pretty much. People used to just happen by at dinner time. And we'd be, you know, we might be eating rattlesnake or or just beans and rice and, you know, squirrels or rabbits or, but we love food.
We had a garden in Coronado, we had a garden in Oregon, we had a garden in Canada, we had a garden here. So we've always been gardening,
Yeah.
you know, it's just part of the deal. What else are we gonna do?
Yeah, what else are we gonna do?